second.
Very well, thank you. Dear colleagues, those in support of the motion that the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, the 11th day of July 2018 be now approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Announcements. Dear colleagues, I would like to acknowledge members of the Nigerian University Nursing Students Association, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Kaduna State. Also, staff and students of Holy Ghost College, Egweme, Kogi State. Staff and students of Prime Scholar School, Kubo, Abuja. As well as staff and students of Legend Vile Academy, Duse, Abuja. On behalf of this, now I'd like to welcome all of you and wish you a fruitful observation about today's proceedings. You can sit down. Mr. Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the first business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ike Ekweremadu on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Alteration Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the first title of the bill.
Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Alteration Bill 2018, SB 694, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Alteration Bill 2018, SB 694, first reading taken. Well, distinguished, just to emphasize that it's in response to the directive of the Senate to the Constitutional Review Committee that this bill is being presented on behalf of the committee for an amendment to the Constitution of 1999 of Nigeria to make provision for state and community policing. So the committee has fulfilled its mandate, and now the bill has been taken for the first time, and I'm sure that as soon as possible we'll take the second reading and then probably send it to public hearing through the committee as well, so that we'll fast track it as directed by the Senate. Senate Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the second business of the day is presentation of the report of the Committee on the Environment on the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2016, Amendment Bill 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive the report.
Senator Tinubu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Oluremi Tinubu from Lagos Central Senatorial District. I rise to move the motion that the Senate do receive the report on the Committee on Environment on the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency Act 2006, Amendment Bill 2018, SB 557.
Thank you. Senator Magnus Abe.
Mr. President, my very distinguished and eminent colleagues, I rise to second the motion so ably moved by my distinguished colleague, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, that this bill be laid. Thank you.
Thank you. They are considering support of the motion that this Senate do not receive this report, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Certainly we will proceed to lay the report. Thank you. Senate Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi on the need for emergency reconstruction of the runway of the Akano Ibiam International Airport, Enugu. Mr. President, you will recall that on Tuesday, the 10th day of July 2018, the Senate via order 42.2 of our standing order approved that this motion be moved on the next legislative day. Accordingly, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Chukwuka Utazi to move the motion, Mr. President.
Senator Utazi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Chukwuka Utazi. I represent good people of Enugu North Senatorial District of Enugu State. I move the motion for the emergency reconstruction of the runway of the Akano Ibiam International Airport. The Senate informed that while aboard an APS flight from Abuja to Enugu, the pilot made a chilling announcement about the state of the runway of Akanu Ibiam International Airport and enjoy passengers on board who can get the necessary authorities to listen to help in immediately setting about the resurfacing of the runway to forestall accidents as the potholes and cracks but marking the runway make takeoff and landing a bumpy and frightening undertaking. The Senate observes that Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu is the first airport east of the Niger that was built even before Nigeria's independence and was only upgraded to the status of international airport on August 24, 2013, long after Port Harcourt and Calabar. The Senate notes that the runway before it was upgraded was 2,400 meters length and 45 meters width, but after the upgrade, it was extended to 300 meters length, which can now take medium to large size aircraft. The Senate informed that as a result of a technical appraisal, shows that due to high water table of the airport, water percolates and gets trapped between upper asphalt and bottom concrete, and this persistent retention of water weakens asphalt and creates potholes and cracks as a result of the weight of landing aircraft, which are now heavier than the aircraft of the 60s and the 70s. The Senate informed that the palliative works carried out in the last quarter of 2017 to create water drains embedded in the asphalt surface end to end have not solved the problem, as transition between new asphalt and old asphalt makes the surface rough and bumpy. The Senate further informed that the airport also lacks approach lights at two ends of the runway, which has necessitated that the airport operates between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and the nearness of the runway to Oriemene Market are trade beds which perch around refuse dumps and abattoirs in the market that are awfully dangerous to aircraft engines, especially during takeoff and landing. The Senate, considering that the South is the last among all the geopolitical zones of Nigeria to have an international airport, the condition of the runway of the airport is disheartening, and it will not only expose users of the airport to harm and avoidable accidents, it will also discourage international airlines and interest from using the airport. The Senate notes that the upgrade of the airport to international status was a fulfillment of the dreams of the people of the southeast of Nigeria, who are famed entrepreneurs and have long clamored for direct flights to parts of the world where they engage in myriad of commercial activities in order to cut costs associated with logistics and distance. And accordingly, this Senate resolves to urge the Federal Ministry of Transport and other relevant authorities to, as a matter of emergency, resurface and reconstruct the runway of Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, and also extend the length of the runway. Mr. President, I have been very grateful because the Senate permitted me to bring this motion of this matter of urgent public importance. This is very, very important to us.
All right, Senator Tati, you finished. Senator Egu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Sam Egu. I represent Ebonyi North Senatorial District. Mr. President, I stand up to support this motion ably moved by my brother, Senator Chuka, on the state of Enugu International Airport runway. This issue of Enugu runway airport has been a major issue that has actually been stressed severally. If you are landing at Enugu airport, nobody tells you that it's like chain gallop. One would observe if you are using a vehicle. It has been very, very embarrassing. The pilot time they land, we say, please, please, let authorities do something about this airport. That airport is not only serving the people of the Southeast, it serves people from Southwest. I know that our distinguished Senator John Eno, when going back to his state, comes to Enugu Airport, South-South. I also know that even the former Senate President, David Mack, uses that airport when he's going to Benue State. Until now, even the people of Asaba, Delta, uses that airport. Not talk about the international status which that airport has suddenly acquired because Ethiopian Airlines also lands at Enugu. Mr. President, it's also very unfortunate that each time they are doing an upgrade or putting facilities in some airports in Nigeria, they will mention Lagos, they will mention Kano, they will mention other airports in the north, and nothing talked about Enugu Airport. This is very, very unfair to the people of Southeast. So I stand to support this motion that something should be done urgently to improve the runway of Enugu Airport. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Abari, after Abari, we'll take pork and then get the professionals, Senator Nala, to wrap it up, and then we'll go to the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support this motion. I think my real problem with the question of Enugu Airport is that about 3 years ago, this airport was shut down for a very long time for upgrade and repair of this same runway. So as much as we're also looking at what to do, there must also be some investigation made to who actually did work on that airport. Because you cannot tell me. I know, and I think when our resident experts will speak on this matter, I do not think that an upgrade of a runway should not last more than 10 to 15 years. For an upgrade of a runway and that same runway will break down within 3-4 years, that means that job was not done ab initio. And so, as we urge the Ministry of Transport to look into this matter, there is also need for us to find out what happened to the funds that were put to upgrade this particular runway. I so submit.
Okay.
Mr. President, dear colleagues, Nidofonke Emmanuel is my name, Bielsa Central. I rise to lend my voice to this motion. The issue of airports, there is no need for us to talk of managing an airport. And once they are up there and such announcement comes up, I think no one will be left unfrightened. So, keeping the airport in that situation, I believe, is not fair. It's not only the fact that airlines from outside the shores of Nigeria comes into land in Enugu, but even an aircraft is carrying just a single soul. If that aircraft crashes, and that single soul will lose his or her life because of negligence, it is unfair to that soul that we miss. So, Mr. President, dear colleague, there is all the need for us to put the runway in place. Secondly, talking about the beds, that there is an aperture very close to the runway. I had a bitter experience sometime with Chachangi when the bird flew into the engine and the pilot announced that one of the engines is packed up. In fact, 3 minutes will appear to you as if it's 3 hours. So those are things that you can do through fumigation. I think the expert would say it. So anything that can be done to see that our airports, our runway is in good condition should be done on time. My worry is that this motion is coming up at this point where we have even considered the budget of 2018 and the budget is to be implemented. In any case, there is no time that government cannot address situations that calls for it. So believe if we pass resolution on this motion, everything should be done in such a way to see that funds are made available so that this thing cannot be left in the cooler the next budget second. So I urge every person to support this motion and to see that this airport is put in good condition before we entertain something that all of us will not expect. Thank you, Mr. President.
Very well, Senator Nala.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. Let me first of all say that I've had the privilege of personally flying you into that airport several times. Enugu is a unique airport. A lot of efforts have been done about that airport to take it to international standard by one of your sisters who had the privilege of becoming the aviation minister at that time. Unfortunately, I think decisions as to how cost-effective the construction of their airport has remained debatable. As you can see from the motion moved by distinguished Senator Utazi, he has spoken about technical evaluation of trapped water in between the concrete and the asphalt. Now, what that does to a runway is to make it undulated. Now, undulated runways are dangerous for two reasons. One, you will have a situation where maybe before you reach what we call approach speed, in an undulating runway, the aircraft will leave the ground. You cannot take it off, and then bringing it down again can cause anything. You can have tire bursts, you can have collapse nose wheel, you can have, depending on the wind direction on that day. The second aspect being that it has cracks, meaning on takeoff, you stand almost 80 to 99% of picking debris, which can cause what we refer to as FOD, foreign object damage, and therefore you can lose an engine. But I think it's important to make a clarification here for the benefit of those who don't know what happens. Even if on takeoff, you have the misfortune of losing an engine, it's not a big deal in the sense that every 6 months of our life, we go to sim with that simulator to know what to do under that situation. So every captain has that capacity, depending on circumstances of the day, to know what to do to bring you back to safety. And that no circumstances of the day will make it practically impossible for the captain to be able to bring back the aircraft back to the runway. But that is not the issue. The issue, well, there are so many things about it. If you want, you can go back to school and know how to do this thing. But what I'm saying is that on a very serious note, sir, Enugu Airport as it stands today can validly be referred to as an unsafe airport. And I know that a lot of efforts are under consideration on how to quickly move into Enugu and bring it back to life. So this motion, all that it seeks to do is possibly to attempt to fast track those thinking of government to be able to mobilize to site. And that's why when the argument came about the 2018 budget and Enugu Airport, I laughed. You know that me and you have consistently been on this matter, and you have always told me that at your meeting in the Southeast, you have dedicated this matter to us to handle. The request came actually from the minister, and it was on the assumption that certain monies have already been paid to the contractor, and that all that needed to be done was that remaining that needs to be there so that they can do the job. So I think that there is no cause for alarm. The motion will assist. The motion will assist us to do whatever is humanly possible to fast track the process. That's what I can say about this matter, sir.
Well, we would have stopped, but since two senior citizens of the Senate are still raising their hands, we'll take James Manager and Francis. Okay, an engineer to engineer, so I think the still Senate will go to the prayer.
Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, thank you for recognizing me. Initially, I didn't want to contribute, but having listened to what Baribe calls the resident expert, and whose proficiency in this business cannot be doubted because it's not just the pilot, but father of pilots. I have tremendous respect for his opinion, and he has given his opinion this day. And I listened to him very well, Mr. President, and I became very frightened after he made the comment that Enugu Airport today can practically be referred to as an unsafe place to land and take off. These are very dangerous words coming from a pilot of his caliber. Mr. President, and therefore I want to urge the Senate in the prayers, let it be said, and this is very significant, Mr. President, so that the executive will give respect to this particular motion, because we are talking about lives of human beings. And the Southeast, particularly that Enugu Airport, represents very, a very sizable number of air transporters. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, and anybody can fly in and fly out of that airport. Because I also have gone to Enugu several times using the Enugu Airport. Mr. President, we cannot risk the lives of valuable Nigerians. And it's only the valuable ones that fly from one place to another. And therefore, on this occasion, I'm calling the Senate to do something that will give meaning to this resolution that we're about to pass. Because it's not just one of those resolutions. This is a resolution about the lives of our human beings. Mr. President, for now, having listened to him, I want advice that let nobody from henceforth fly into that airport. Well, when you say practically dangerous, well, even if it's dangerous, technically or practically, they all mean the same thing. As far as those who are flying, it is nothing like, oh, if I had known. Because once you are up, the only thing between you and your God is prayers. No more, no less. So, Mr. President, this is a very serious matter, and I want the Senate to give the seriousness to this the way it deserves. Thank you, Mr. President.
Francis.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Francis Alimikena, representing the good people of Edo North. Mr. President, I rise to support this motion ably moved by my friend Utazi. I don't know why Nigeria want to wait till the last day. In anything that Nigeria is doing, they will wait till the last day before they do it. When they are preparing their people for Olympics, they will wait till the last day before they start to assemble the people together. And when they get there, they will get the last lap. Now, if a runway is bumpy, which shows that danger is approaching. Not bumpy, it's undulating and bumpy when take off. Now, will the Ministry of Aviation want to wait, God forbid, a disaster at the airport before they take action? And as we are talking now, the Enugu Airport is an international airport. What signal do they send to the international carrier that use that Enugu Airport? And again, too, it frightens people. For a pilot to tell the people inside the aircraft to pray, tell the authority to do something, which means that they want an airplane to land and the tire burst, maybe probably it will swing into the bush before they will know how to take action. Mr. President, let the Committee on Aviation, summon the Minister of Aviation to talk about this Enugu Airport. We don't want a disaster in that airport before they can take action. So this one prayer is not enough. The Committee of Aviation should summon the Minister of Aviation to speak on it. so that they take, it's not necessarily a palliative measure, repair this if they know they cannot upgrade this. Why do they upgrade any airport to international standard if they cannot maintain it? Which means that apart from that, many passengers will not be patronizing that Enugu airport. And I know that Enugu airport is one of the busiest airports in Nigeria, local or international. So it is not a question of saying it is not technical. If Senator Baebi and the aviation expert here said that the place is technically unsafe. Technically unsafe or not unsafe, they are the same thing. But for instance now, as we are talking now, they are not technically unsafe, they are unsafe. Yes.
No, technically.
Yes, technically unsafe. So I support this motion.
Senator Gamade.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Barnabas Gamade. I represent Benue Northeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, I am urged to speak on this subject because it touches on the area of airports that is really non-negotiable in terms of quality. Now, the aircraft, all it needs in an airport is the runway. That's what the aircraft needs. It does not need the building. In fact, if there is daylight, it doesn't even need the landing instruments. But the runway must be well made in order that you don't just feel comfortable, you should feel completely safe. And from the report that is given, it appears to me that the last work that was done on this airport 3 years ago was just a rip-off for this country. And this is what we are seeing in many, many critical projects in Nigeria, where people go out and spend large sums of money on a matter and leave the most important issues unattended. In fact, to extend the runway from 2,400 meters to 3,000 meters is not as important as making sure that the runway on which the planes will land is safe and well made. The aprons can be rough, all other aspects of the airport can be rough, but the runway where the plane will take off and land must be well made. I believe that this motion is late. It should have come in when budget was being made. And I wonder why my distinguished colleague Otazi did not see the need to come and take advantage of what we were doing here. In fact, when what do you call it now, was increased, there was some money available to be given the project. And it looked as if they were begging for projects to put that extra money on. And this is one of this benchmark. This is one of the projects that should have taken some money. I would like to amend his prayer that federal government should be urged to immediately forward the supplementary budget to this assembly in order to take care of this project. It's very important for the safety of all Nigerians. It's not a southeast matter, because we all fly there, whether you are northwest or northeast or whatever. We do things in that area, and that's the only airport which you can easily get flights to go there. So I support this motion, and I amend the prayer as appropriate. Thank you.
Is this explanation? Okay, please.
Well, you see, Mr. President, we live in an era where whatever you say here, some people can go and turn it upside down and then make headlines. So it's important to offer this explanation, sir. When Otazi was moving his motion, he told this Senate that it used to be 2,400 meters. Then it was extended to 300 meters. What? Yeah. So, sir, it's 3,000, sir. What normally happens, sir? When we say an airport is technically unsafe, it is taking into account the length of the runway and the anticipated traffic. For example, if you are going there with a Hawker, small jet, you don't need the entire runway for your takeoff roll or for your landing roll. So an airport can be operationally safe, but technically unsafe, depending on the aircraft you are flying into that runway. Now, there is an update and runway inspection every day. Maybe people don't understand. Every day before an airport is open, there is what is referred to as runway inspection. From the threshold of one end to the other end. And a report is made as to whether that airport is safe for that day to be able to carry the traffic of that day. For every plane that is leaving from any part of the world to come to Enugu, there is what is referred to as flight plan, which the Enugu airport will receive even before the aircraft departs wherever it is departing. And that report is sent to the pilot, and the pilot will look at the performance of his aircraft, the time of arrival, the weather information at the time of arrival, and then he decides what we say go, no go decision as to whether he can safely go or not go. So whenever a captain takes a decision to go to the airport, it is because he believes it is operationally safe based on the circumstances. So there are no hard and fast rules about whether an airport is safe or not safe. You can have the best of the runway. You can have the best of this thing, but on a day where you have wind, in which the capacity of the aircraft, what we call demonstrated capacity of the aircraft, cannot go into that runway, then it becomes unsafe. So I feel it's important that I give this explanation before tomorrow I see on headline that Naala says Enugu Airport is unsafe. That is not this thing. It's important for people to know this. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. So I know a lot of people would like to speak on this. I just want to crave your indulgence and so that we are able to end this debate now. But let me just make some few clarifications. One, as Tazi said, the state is very worrisome. And when you are flying out of Enugu Airport or you are landing into Enugu Airport, usually people are advised to say their prayers. And God has been answering those prayers. I don't know how long God will oblige us. Especially now that we all know that the place is dangerous. So we can't blame God if anything happens. Let me also add that the Southeast Caucus have had cause to discuss this matter with the President. And the President showed concern. We had thought that probably the last budget that the executive would take it upon themselves to ensure that it's appropriated for. Because I recall the President, that was shortly before the construction of the Abuja airport. And the President also told us of the worrisome situation about the Abuja airport and said that most of the airports have this problem, of the runway. And so we had thought that that will be an opportunity for the government to address it. So I'm happy that matter is coming up. But just as Senator Francis said, I think we have a problem in this country of how we respond to disasters. Sometimes we allow disasters to happen and then we'll mourn, we'll come here, observe 1 minute silence, and then we don't learn anything from it. People die, we just go and bury them. Nobody does do any autopsy to find out why the person died, so that to prevent such occurrence. So that's the essence of doing autopsies. So, but here, we just allow things to happen and we just move on as if nothing happened. It just happened again. So I think that this should be a wake-up call. I was informed reliably too that even before the killings in Jos, there was a security report that was going to happen and nobody took it serious, and eventually happened. So when we come up with matters like this, I'm sure that the government and relevant agencies must take it seriously. The problem with Enugu Airport was, just as Gamada said, a fraud on the government. The government perpetuated that fraud because the design was actually poor. It was reconstructed by the PW company, and the PW said that they did exactly what was given to them as the design, and there was no filtration in the design. So water comes in and then settles there and doesn't go out from any process. So once you have one rainy season, the water will accumulate there and then it starts giving away. So that has been the major problem. So it doesn't even require resurfacing. What it requires actually is a reconstruction. So, so whatever provision has to be made not for resurfacing, but for the construction of the airport. And I just want to appeal to our engineers and our architects and designers in ministries, both federal and state, that in making some of these things we must be very careful and very professional in our designs, so so I can stand the test of time. If you look at the road from here to Abuja, to airport, from Abuja to the city in Abuja to the airport, you can see the open drainage. I'm not sure we find such things anywhere in the world. And I recall that when the construction was going on, I met with the George Beja, and they said it was the design given to them. And this design was made in the 70s. And nobody made any attempt to change it. Today we have open drain. And once there's rain, you see vehicles falling into those traps. You know, so, and even driving on that road, you can see how unsafe it is yourself. You can see the non-alignment. You know, and these are designs we do ourselves and give to our people to come and construct for, and we pay for it. And then yet there are just death traps against our people. So we need to wake up at this point to ensure that those who do this work should be able to be very professional and have the interest of our people at heart. So again, coming back to the Enugu airport, the Ethiopian airline flies into that place. At some point, they introduced the cargo airline coming in there. After the cargo airline came twice and they lost several tires, they stopped coming. You know, because of the state of the runway. And most of the airlines that wanted to come to Enugu also stopped because of this. So I just do hope that, as suggested by Senator James Manager and Gamade, and of course Walker, that will make provision for the construction of that runway in the next budget. So I want to thank everybody for your contribution and thank Otazi for raising this. So having said this, we'll go to the prayers. If you want to make amendments or want further prayers, we can deal with that. But the prayer one is, urge the Federal Minister of Transport and other relevant authorities to, as a matter of emergency, resurface and reconstruct the runway of the Akanu International Airport, Enugu, and also extend the length of the runway. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional prayers, Senator Marafa.
Thank you, Mr. President, Senator Marafa, representing for the Central. Mr. President, listening to the contributions made, I think there is the need to include an investigation into what resulted in who are the people that did this design and why did they do it. Now, were they competent to do it or not? Because I don't think we should continue to see these things and just sweep them under the carpet. Somebody did something wrong, and it's just over and he goes away with it. So there is the need to carry out a holistic investigation into the design of the airport, who did it, with a view of punishing who did that. And the contract awarded, I know enormous amounts of money were appropriated on this airport. So what happened to all this money? So I'm suggesting that we add to carry out a holistic investigation into the contracts and this thing of Enugu Airport, with a view of bringing this, the culprits to book.
Is there anybody seconding or okay, Senator? Yes, Barao.
Yes, my name is Senator Barao Jibrin. I'm happy that I'm going to second this motion. I wanted to contribute to this motion because of its importance, but I didn't have the opportunity. I stand to second the amendment proposed by Senator Maraba.
Okay, what is proposing that the Senate Committee on Aviation should look into, carry out the investigation into the design and construction of the runway and all the surrounding issues. Let me just also add further information which will even shock you. Even the so-called reconstruction will be completed because that's why you can't land there after 6 p.m. because there's supposed to be a landing facility, night landing facility. And unfortunately, the night landing facility is there at the airport but could not be installed because the contractor said he will not install it because he will not be paid. And he wants to be paid before he install it. And that's why people can't land there at night. The facilities are still there in Enugu line and being wasted. So I believe that, that if they find out, if the committee goes into it, they'll be able to find out the details. Those in support of the additional prayer, say aye. Aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it. Any other additional prayer? Senior leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the second order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Adamu Aleru on the gruesome killing of 40 people in Sokoto State by armed bandits. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Adamu Aleru to move the motion. Mr. President, Senator Gobir will move the motion. It's here. Well, Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Adamu Aleru to...
Senator Aleru, your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Muhammad Adamu Aleru, representing Kebbi Central. Distinguished colleagues, I move that the motion for gruesome killing.
Sorry, have you discussed with Senator Gobir? Because before you came, Gobir has some issues with the motion. Sen, have you discussed with Senator Gobir from Sokoto? Because before he came, he had issues with the motion. Okay.
Gruesome killing of 40 people in Sokoto State by armed bandits. The Senate notes with sadness the gruesome and unprecedented killing of innocent and defenseless people in the number of 40 in Sokoto State by armed bandits on Monday morning at Dogonyaro in the district in Rabah local government area of Kebbi State. The Senate further concerned that these armed bandits are operating in the forest where they carry nefarious and barbaric killing of innocent people over a period of 2 years. The Senate further notes that they move with motorcycles that carry up to 3 people, numbering about 30 motorcycles in all, meaning that the armed bandits were up to 90, and each one of them is carrying AK-47 rifle. The Senate further worried that the armed bandits sent 2 people to the village to buy food for them, and the villagers observed that the emissaries were armed, and they were interrogated by the villagers and found to be armed bandits similar to the ones operating in Zamfara. The villagers apprehended them and executed the 2 emissaries. The Senate further notes that the armed bandits sent advance notice to the villagers that they were coming to retaliate the killing of their people. The Senate further notes with sympathy that the chairman of the local government council and the village head alerted the law enforcement agencies on this notice of the bandits. Security was provided for a period of 5 days, after which they were withdrawn. Immediately the security agencies were withdrawn, the armed bandits moved in and started killing indiscriminately with AK-47 rifles. The situation now is that most of the villagers have left their homes out of fear, and so many are still stranded in the bush. And not to mention the injured ones still at the hospital, and others are rendered homeless. The Senate accordingly resolved to urge the federal government to mandate the Air Force and Police Helicopter Division to carry out aerial surveillance of both Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi with the view of identifying the hideouts and locations of these bandits and deal with them decisively. 2, urge the Inspector General of Police, through the Commissioner of Police in the 3 states, to set up special squad to map up the whole zone and get rid of armed bandits. 3, call for synergy between the DSS, the police, and the armed forces with the view of sharing intelligence and strategies to embark upon in getting rid of the armed bandits. 4, observe 1 minute silence in honor of the departed soul.
5, request NEMA to send emergency relief to the affected communities. 6, send a delegation to condole the government and people of Sokoto State over this gruesome killing. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, from the information we gathered even yesterday night, these bandits are still operating within that area. Unfortunately, law enforcement agencies have not gone there to checkmate what they are doing. This shows that there is serious laxity in the way security agents carry out their activities. All we need now is an area surveillance of the area so that these bandits can be located and ground troops can go and get them and deal with them decisively. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Gobert.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues. To be candid, this was a very terrible situation that happened on Monday. In fact, the number of people killed in that village was more than 100. Because these people just came in and started killing people left and right and center. There was nothing. In fact, they first started with the son of the village head. Then when the son of the village head was killed, the father went to report to the police. On his way, he was killed. That's the father, that's the village head. And then immediately after that, they came back and started killing everybody in the village. And they killed about 100. In fact, unfortunately, before then, the army and the police were invited to come to the place. They came. They were there briefly. And the people were monitoring them. That's the bandits. Immediately after the army and the police left the place, they just came in and started killing people. This is a very serious issue. And currently, I think we have over 5 villages that left the whole place. They have their camp now in a place called Gandhi. So this is a very serious issue. I think something has to be done. Government has to take this thing very seriously. And the way I think is that there is need to have maybe a depot of the army to be somewhere within that forest so that they can carve out all the menace of those bandits and then make sure the place is totally secure. And I quite agree with them that there is need to have helicopters all over the place so that they can find out what is happening and then try to see and then carve out every menace, everything that is there. It is a very serious issue, and if nothing is done, this is going to further escalate. So I'm very glad and grateful to Aneru for bringing this to the attention of the chamber because I was absent, unavoidably absent yesterday. Thank you very much.
Slow down, Baba.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Ibrahim Abdullahi Dambaba, and I represent Sokoto South Senatorial District, the people of Sokoto South Senatorial District. I want to contribute to this motion, which is very timely. The issue of security, Mr. President, is becoming a very troublesome issue. We have spoken before, and the point has been made by several senators in the past who moved similar motions regarding incidences that happened in some parts of this country. The issue of security so far has not been given the kind of attention it deserves by this administration. The issue is such that people come and attack communities at will. We have spoken, we have taken position before to say that this issue should be checkmated because there is always a spillage from one state to another. This happened in Zamfara. It has been happening in Zamfara for over 3 years now. And for over 3 years, or for over 7 years, it has been happening in Zamfara. And it seems as if no permanent solution has been proffered by government, there is need for us to ensure that government is taking this matter seriously in such a way that it provides permanent solution. The makeshift arrangement that is being put in place now is a solution that is too little, too late. For instance now, Gandhi is a large settlement, it's a district, a county. I cannot understand, it is a place where there is a station officer. They have police representation there. How comes it that some armed bandits penetrates that particular community and kills over 40 people without harming any of the security agents that have been stationed there? This is a questionable, happening, because you cannot imagine that in a settlement where there is a police post, the bandits came, attacked the place, and none of the police or security agents were involved. And I was told, privileged to know, that the SSS, they were stationed in that place for over a month, because there are 3 local governments that have been involved in Sokoto State: Isa, Raba, and Treta. And sooner than later, if action is not taken, Your Excellency, sooner than later, this will spill over to Kebbi State. Already some parts of Kebbi around Zuru are already affected. So if action is not taken, the same thing will spill over to other local government areas. So there is need for us to make sure that we proffer for permanent solution to this problem than this makeshift arrangement that is in place at this point in time. Thank you, Your Excellency.
All right, we'll take Senator Marafa, Misao, Nyako, Jibril Barao, Gamad, and then we'll go to the prayers. Marafa.
Thank you, Mr. President, my well-respected colleagues, Senator Marafa representing Zamfara Central. Mr. President, let me start on the note of commiserating and condoling my neighbors and brothers, the people of Sokoto State and Goldberry's constituency in particular. It is a very sad event, and I commiserate with them over the deaths of these people. But having said that, Mr. President, I think, like I said, I've spoken quite enough on this issue. And looking at the prayers, it is the same prayers that we always do. Order surveillance of the bush, do this, do that. Mr. President, I think what we need to do on this matter is, one, we should always try to separate between politics and maybe morality. I remember when I brought the second to the last motion on this issue, or commencing with the time I started to say that 65% of Zamfara is under the control of bandits. A lot of people thought I was playing politics. When I said people walk around with automatic rifles freely in our societies, some people thought I was playing politics. When I called for an imposition of state of emergency in Zamfara, I remember some of my brothers, even from Sokoto, resisted. And the reason is simply because of acquaintances and so on and so forth, which is allowed. But this issue has to do with human lives. And the problem is, we are unable, most of us, especially people that come from there, to put ourselves in the shoes of those people. And I've said it times without number. Try to imagine your daughter being abducted into the bush for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and after released with bruises and severely injured. Think of your mother, think of your wife
then you would understand the gravity of what is happening. And these happenings are going on every day. It is only reported when they happen on large scale. And Mr. President, we keep treating these issues with kid gloves. A lot of people put the blame on federal government. I cannot say federal government can be absolved of blame. They have. But Mr. President, first and most importantly, I've always said it. When you are attacked by robbers in your house, what do? You shout, you put alarm, you alert the neighbors and everybody to say that there is a problem in my house that is beyond me. Mr. President, till today, as I'm talking to you today, even last week, the governor of Zamfara was trying to suppress this kind of issues, trying to punish people for bringing them to the court. Somebody said there is this problem and there is that problem, and he was querying, why are you embarrassing government? And that is where I have grounds with this thing. Ordinarily, I would have thought that, yes, you have done your best and there is very little you can do now. But when you start to punish people that bring these issues to front burner, then I begin to question your honesty and sincerity on the issue. So we need to separate these things from politics, Mr. President. What I'm trying to say is this. My brothers and sisters from Plateau, from Benue, from Taraba and everywhere also have similar problems. And anytime they come up, you hear Fulani herdsmen issues. And I have always cautioned, this is one of the divisive tendencies that we have. Let us give this issue the name it requires so that we all can be united in fighting it. Now, would somebody now tell me that it is Fulani herdsmen that killed these people in Sokoto? And if it is yes, it is Fulani herdsmen, now it is now proven beyond reasonable doubt that these Fulanis are not killing people in Plateau or in Benue because they are Christians. Because 100% of the people killed in Sokoto, they are all Muslims. Who killed them? And we didn't hear the people of Sokoto coming out to say that these people were killed by Christians from Middle Belt or from any other place. We have never said that. So Mr. President, this issue is not about farmers' herders. It is not about House of Fulani. I said one of the key successes we recorded in the fight against Boko Haram is because everybody, including the states of Yobe and Borno, are united in the name that these people are not Kanuris. They are called Boko Haram. So long as we continue to call these people Fulani, then there will always be some people that will rise up to the defense of their own. If you say Hausas are all bad, I will stand up and challenge you. But if you say so-so person is a bad person, now I treat it on the merit of that person and not a whole community. So Fulani are a community, they are a tribe. Albert, take your seat, my friend. Thank you, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, we need...
You need to be rounding up because so others can contribute.
We need to be united in the fight against this menace. And one of the best ways we can do it is we have to separate politics. I'm happy my brother, distinguished senator and the former governor of Kebbi State, Adamu Aliru, was the one that moved this motion. He is a very good man, and he always, or he most of the times, try to stand on the side of the truth. But when I moved for the imposition of a state of emergency, I remember Senator Adamu Aliru is one of the people that said, no, let us get a middle ground. Mr. President, I want Senator Aliru now as one of the leaders of Northwest, Senator Wamako as one of the leaders of Northwest, to now see the reason why I was saying what I said, and to now talk to their younger brothers in these 3 states, especially, because it is just a question of time before the whole of those 3 states become an enclave of armed bandits and all of them cannot go home. Mr. President, we need to do the needful. We need to talk about these issues, and we need to bring them to the front burner, and most importantly, we need to give them the name they deserve so that all Nigerians will be on the same page and we can all come together and fight this thing. The issue of every day bringing motion to say Fulani herders are doing this is not there. This is a business, it's armed banditry, and the people perpetrating it are recruiting people every day, and they are doing so in every community. And anywhere you see this problem, you see the sons and daughters of that place participating. There could be some people from outside, but it is not all about somebody coming to kill us, no. Even your own children participate in it. Mr. President, I once again commiserate with them, but when we get to the prayer, we need to do more than what is content, because it's just not about NEMA. It's just not about
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleague, Senator Isa Hamamisau, representing the good people of Bauchi Central. Mr. President, this is a very bad moment, and it's a bad situation in our country. There is nothing new we are going to say concerning this killings, lawlessness that is taking place in the country. So I think, Mr. President, what we are saying here now, we have said it before, and we concluded here so many times that if certain things are not done, there is no way this thing will stop. And the problem with insecurity is, for example, when this Boko Haram started, it started inside Maiduguri town, where the Boko Haram members became lawless. This thing became, even if maybe the police invite them, they don't come. They became authority on themselves. From there, they graduated to how Boko Haram started from Maiduguri. It went to Yobe, from Yobe, Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe. It even came to Abuja. So I'm making reference to when Senator Marafa was bringing this issue of Zamfara State. Where here, many people didn't take him serious. And even in the security cycle, he was making a lot of noise concerning what is happening in Zamfara. Today, what is happening in Zamfara now, it has touched Sokoto. And if care is not taken, it will touch Kebbi. From Kebbi, it will come to Kaduna. And from Kaduna, it will come to Abuja. Even the recent killings that happened, the recent one that happened in Abuja here, where 7 policemen were killed, there is a lot of intelligence. It's not armed robbers that killed those people. They are these same armed bandits. They are trying to regroup and come to Abuja and start operating in Abuja. But today, if you look at the security situation in the country, the security men, they are more interested in politics than securing the lives and properties of the ordinary citizens of Nigeria. There is no way, if we don't ask questions, if we don't do the right thing, this thing will continue. I don't believe in saying that we should not do certain things because the presidency or the villa will not act. I don't believe it. We should do our own work. Let's push it to them. If they do it, fine. If they don't do it, we are sure that we have done our own. So many times we are here, we'll just say, even if we do this resolution, they are not going to abide by the resolution.
A microphone.
Mr. President, just yesterday, we look at the situation, very sad situation in Ekiti State, where I saw the video where the security men were firing shots, tear gas, everybody, just a political rally. It's very sad. And we have not seen the kind of presence we see in political rallies where we see thousands of policemen. We have never seen it in any situation in Nigeria where crises are taking place. And if you go back For the past 3 years, there has never been a situation whereby they said our policemen engaged some criminals flagranto delicto. That means on the act. It has never this. For the past 3 years, it is only you hear that after the people have done what they want to do, that you hear that some people have been mobilized to the scene of where the crime has taken place. So it's a very bad situation in the country. And this thing will not stop until we do the right thing. And for now, we have not even started doing the right thing. Some people, some security chiefs that are supposed to do this work, they are being protected by certain people close to the system. This is the gospel truth.
The microphone.
We value the position. We value the position where some people are holding than the life that we are losing every day. We don't want to touch some people because of maybe, I don't know whether it's ego or something, because they don't want to say it's because of certain people that have talked, that's why we are removing this thing. So today the situation is very, very bad. It's very, very bad. And this thing can come to Abuja if care is not taken. We should try as much as possible. I have made the time that I said we should be able to know the policemen that we have per state, per local government. These local governments that you are seeing, sometimes it's not even more than 100 policemen in the station. So if you, and we have taken 30,000 policemen to just Ikiti. Ikiti, there is not even, there are some states that are even 3 times bigger than Ikiti. But we have taken over 30,000 policemen. That is, we are not even talking about civil defense. We are not talking about other security agencies that took their men to Ikiti. These are the kind of things that we're supposed to address. If we don't address this issue, whether we don't have to look at the villa, what the villa will say, or what people close to the president will say.
Pull back that microphone.
Or what other people will say. It's just about doing the right thing. But for now, we are not doing the right thing that will curtail this killing. This killing is happening every day. There are some killings that are not even reported. Today, human life in Nigeria is nothing. Many killings are taking place about, all these killings about 8, 4, 5. That one people don't even report it. It is when it gets to maybe 30, 40, 50 that you even hear, even the press now, they are even tired of reporting the killings. Look at today's newspaper. You will even see the killings because even the press are getting tired. And what I know in developed societies, you will see where if they kill one person, you will see CNN will be concentrating on that news for more than 1 week, analyzing how did it happen, what is the reason. We don't even do it. We don't.
Your microphone.
Mr. President, it is only in Nigeria that killings are taking place without any reason. Because these killings are taking place, we won't even know the reason. What is the reason why these killings are taking place? So, Mr. President, we have to come back and address this issue one by one.
Okay. Can you round up now? Gamade, then Juru Barao, then we'll go to the prayers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I represent Canada. I'm directed by the President to speak. So, Mr. President, I want to commiserate with the people of Rabah and the entire people of Sokoto State for the killings that just took place, that recently took place in the state of Sokoto. Mr. President, it is really worrisome and really painful, particularly when one looks at the fact that these killings, those that were killed, they had information that killings were imminent because there were signs. These people even came to tell, the killers told them that, look, we are coming back to revenge in respect to what you did to our people that you killed, 2 of them. But the law enforcement agencies took their men and women there for a while and then took them back. Why did that happen? There's big laxity there. This is massive laxity on the part of our security agencies. So what I want to say, Mr. President, is that there must be an investigation. The director of DSS, the DG of DSS, the Inspector General of Police must find out who are those that are supposed to man those areas that did not do their work properly. They absconded and left those people to be killed. We can't allow these to be swept under the carpet. There must be a thorough investigation to find out those who did not do their job. Yes, Marafa has talked about the fact that these killings started 7 years ago. Should we allow this to continue? No. There must be an end to what we are experiencing now. Of course, I know the DG, DSS wouldn't have allowed this to happen. But those people who are there, they probably gave you wrong information. Or the Inspector General of Police. So the number one thing that should be done is to investigate. Let's know and find out those who did not do their job properly. So this is what I want to add, because a lot has been said. And we need, Mr. President, just as contained in the report of the summit, on the security summit that we had in this chamber, that there must be enough personnel in our police force, enough personnel in our security agencies, and they should be armed. That aspect of the report must be implemented immediately. If we have enough policemen, enough security agencies as in the whole of our security arrangement, I'm sure we'll be able to nip all these killings in the bud. We should have been able to nip them in the bud. Mr. President, I so submit. Thank you.
Well, distinguished, I want to thank everybody for your contribution. And I'm sure you recall that when the issue of killings in Plateau happened, some of us warned that it's still going to happen again because we refused to do the correct thing. And when it happens like this, some of us feel very disappointed and our hearts bleed because we're a country that never learned from what happens to us, and then we refuse to take correction. When we talk about state police or decentralizing the police and putting enough policemen at the local places to prevent this, we tend sometimes to think about our own safety, our political safety, in the hands of governors. We don't care about what happens to the rest of the community we are representing. So, and I think each day this thing happens brings to the fore the need for us to have enough policemen at the local places. It can only happen when we decentralize the police. So I just want to appeal that we'll continue to have a rethink in this matter. It's not enough to say you don't want a state police when you don't have alternative. So as far as we are concerned, the way we are now, the situation we found ourselves, we just have no alternative than ensuring that we'll all support the initiative of the Senate to set police at all the states and then ensure that they have local content and local presence, to protect the people we serve. So I just want to appeal that we'll continue to support the process and ensure that we're able to put this insecurity behind us. It has nothing to do, political coloration has nothing to do with the ethnic or religious sentiments. It's something we as leaders must come together to address. So we must be patriotic about this and don't think about our own self-preservation. I think the interest of everybody here should be paramount in our minds. It's not enough for you to have 20 or 40 policemen in your house. If you have policemen everywhere protecting everybody and you don't have any, I'm sure we're better off than having police concentrated in your house or in your village, or in your offices, when there are no policemen in the other places. So we can never be safe under that kind of arrangement. We must make sure that in every community, every hamlet, every locality, there are enough policemen there, and that only can happen when we decentralize our police system. So I just want to appeal that we continue to have a concentration for the lives and properties of our people as leaders of our country. So having said this, let's go straight to the press. Prayer 1, that we urge the federal government to mandate the Air Force and the Police Helicopter Division to carry aerial surveillance of both Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi states with the view of identifying the location and hideout of these bandits and deal with them decisively. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Inspector General of Police through the Commissioner of Police in the 3 states to set up a special squad to mop up the whole zone and get rid of armed bandits. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, call for synergy between DSS, the police, and armed forces with the view of sharing intelligence and strategies to embark upon in getting rid of the armed bandits. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, observe 1 minute silence in honor of the departed souls. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 5, request the NEMA to send emergency relief to the affected communities. Those in support of this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 6, send a delegation to condole with the government and people of Sokoto State over this unfortunate incident. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let's observe 1 minute silence, please. May the souls of all our brothers and sisters who lost their lives in this unfortunate incident rest in perfect peace. Mr. Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of an executive bill standing in my name on the FCT Appropriation Act 2018. Distinguished Senator will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 4th day of July, 2018. Mr. President, with your permission, I move that the bill be read the second time.
Go ahead.
Distinguished colleagues, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to lead debate on the general principle of the FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill 2018. Sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The 2018 FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill seeks to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 271,532,518,887. 271,532,518,887 naira only, out of which the sum of 56,166,171,520 naira only is for personal costs, and the sum of 61,134,445,738 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 154,232,301,630 only is for capital project for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing 1st January and ending 31st December 2018. Distinguished colleagues, in summary, this represents the request of the Federal Capital Territory, and the highlights are as contained in the lead debate, and I urge that my colleagues consider the remaining part of the lead debate as having been read in the chamber and to support the second reading of this bill. I so move. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Parker.
Mr. President, dear colleagues, Mr. Parker Emmanuel is my name. I rise to second this bill, ably moved by the leader. But in trying to do so, Mr. President, I just want to make some observation and comments. FCT, as it stands today, is the home of every one of us seated here. Yes, we did pass the 2017 budget, but you'll agree with me, Mr. President, that if you drive through the streets of Abuja these days, you notice a lot of potholes, especially on the roads. I'll use this opportunity to observe that we have no other city other than Abuja. And I believe that whatever facility we put on ground should be a world-class, should be of world-class standards. Mr. President, I just want to observe that the roads are deteriorating, and there is need for us to fix them. I know it's secondary, sir. And more so, the street lights are far going. So, in all what I'm trying to say is that the FCT as a body should try as much as possible to put the facility in good shape. With that, I second this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, those in support that this bill be read second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Back of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the sum of 271,532,518,887 naira only, of which the sum of 56,166,171,000, which 520 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 61,134,045,730 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 154,230,301,630 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing from 1st January and ending on 31st December, and for other related matters, 2018, second reading.
Very distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund or the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 271,532,518,887 naira only, of which the sum of 56,171,520 naira only is for personnel cost, and the sum of 61,134,045,738 naira only is overhead cost, whilst the balance of 154,232,301,630 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing from the 1st day of January and end on the 31st December, and for other matters 2018, second reading taken and referred to the Committee on FCT to report back in 4 weeks. Senate Leader.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleague, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Agriculture Zulu Establishment ETC Bill 2018. Distinguished senators will record that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, the 4th day of July 2018. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Bala Ibn Allah to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Is Senator Bala Ibn Allah here? You can proceed.
I don't intend to waste the time of my colleagues in respect of this request. The request is a very special request in view of the developments that we have of recent, where the focus of this government has been to increase the GDP of this country and to concentrate on agriculture. And I'm sure everyone sitting in this chamber will know that Kebbi State has played a very, very important role and has capacity 10 times what it is doing now to produce agricultural products, rice in particular, but more importantly, we possess the capacity to produce a lot of agricultural products. And because of the land space that we have, Zuru, which is the area where we seek federal government intervention for the purpose of establishing this college, the University of Agriculture, has tremendously contributed to the agricultural development of this country. So in order not to waste your time, happily enough, distinguished Senator Aleru, who was the then governor of Kebbi State, saw those potentials and took steps to utilize the potentials by creating the College of Agriculture, Zuru, which has significantly improved the agricultural requirement of the state and the Nigeria in general. And it is in that light that we seek the indulgence of this Senate to assist us so that we can have that. Presently, we only have one in Makurdi, and I'm sure distinguished Senator Yemade will tell you the contribution of that university to that environment. So in order to sustain the growth of our agricultural products, to be able to feed ourselves, export, increase the gross domestic product, I urge the support of my colleagues to establish this university as a special request to the federal government, more so that in recognition to the role that we have played in this country for the purpose of stabilizing this country by providing our sons and daughters to serve in this country. I therefore move that the bill be, yes sir. Thank you, sir.
Let me invite an expert in agriculture, an uncommon senator, and the minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, thank you for recognizing my contribution in the agricultural sector to the development of Nigeria. I want to support in totality the establishment of this Federal University of Agriculture at Zuru, and to say that yes, indeed, the location speaks for itself, it speaks volume. Already, there is a strong partnership between these states in Kebbi and Lagos government, producing a lot of rice for Nigeria today. And it's a known fact all over the world that any nation that wants to boast of greatness must be able to provide food for its citizens. Any nation that cannot feed itself, no matter the amount of armament, that nation can never be great. So it is on that note that anything that has to do with feeding the citizens of the country, we must support it. I support the establishment in totality, and of course, I want to say that there's really no need for debate because the area is serene enough, the ground is very fertile, and already they've shown progress that yes, indeed, they have the capacity to contribute more than what they are doing at the moment. And I also hope that the research center will be established within that institution in order to bring out better yield for rice and other agricultural products. I so second. Thank you, sir.
All right, so thank you, Senator Nala, for bringing this uncommon request. And because it's coming from you and doubly supported by the minority leader, and because of the importance of this bill, so I urge that we go straight to the prayers. Those in support that this bill will read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Congratulations. Clerk of Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Zuru, and for other connected matters 2018, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Zuru, and for other connected matters 2018, second reading taken and referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you. Senate Leader.
While thanking my colleagues for this support, I move that the remaining items on the order paper be stood down because of the compelling reason that the presiding officer has to attend to immediately. I therefore move that the remaining items on the order paper be stood down to another legislative day. I so move.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the remaining other items on the order paper be stood down to another legislative date. I so second.
Those in support of the prayer, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Before I call the Senate Leader, let me just make this brief announcement. There will be a meeting of PDP Senate Caucus at hearing room 1 immediately after plenary, and distinguished senators are expected to attend. Both PDP senators and those who wish to join the caucus are expected to attend the meeting. Signed, Senate Minority Leader. Yes, Senate Leader.
Well, Mr. President, after having read that letter that is full of wishful thinking, may I, with due respect, say that having concluded today's proceeding on the order paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn to Tuesday, the 17th day of July 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move, sir.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by the leader that immediately after you read that letter and gave everybody the opportunity to attend the meeting of the PDP caucus, those already in the caucus and those intending to come to the caucus, and then I second the motion for adjournment to Tuesday, the 17th day of July 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so second, sir.
I've listened to the content of the motion and the response, the support, and all of them form part of the prayer. Therefore, I now put the question, no, it's about all the prayers, especially the prayer that the Senate adjourned to Tuesday, the 12th, the 17th day of July 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Kautazi that will be talking more on his motion. Distinguished sir, congratulations, and of course I would say thank you for your laudable motion that you actually brought up. You spoke on the need for emergency reconstruction of the runway of the Akanu International Airport, Enugu. It's really a reflection of you that you are concerned about the safety of lives. Sir, is it true that no maintenance has been carried on the runway since construction?
Well, you see, we have had few maintenance efforts there, but the maintenance efforts we are having there is compounding the problem, because the main issue is the reconstruction of that reconstruction of the runway, not just patching the place, because if you patch it, you add more asphalt on what was already there. It becomes bumpy, it becomes undulating, it makes movement of aircraft taking off or landing very difficult. And many people inside the plane jerk. You know, sometimes planes try to skid past the runway because as a result of this issue. So safety is at the heart of this. And instead of, people say that if you want to stop a fight, you start from the pointing of fingers. So if we want to do something, that's why I have to bring this in up. And the pilots, like I said, in that flight, who just told all of us that Enugu runway is the worst runway in the country. That was just using it. I didn't want to just come that way, but that's what he told us, the worst runway. and that we need to do something urgent. When the pilots decide to be doing this, you know, this is almost outside of the ethics of their profession. But when he has to do so, you know something is wrong. And that's why I brought this motion on behalf of the whole southeast part of this country to alert the nation and get the Minister of Transport to start working. It's not about having the money in the budget or not, whether the budget has been passed or not. No. We have service-wide votes. We have issues of this nature. Such money can be drawn from there, pending when you come for a supplementary estimate to balance the service-wide votes. So this is the issue. And we are begging the Mr. President, we are begging the Minister for Transport and his counterpart in the aviation, in the Minister of State, to look at this issue critically and give the people of the Southeast and all the air users who use that airport a sense of belonging and then safety.
Distinguished, you almost caught me right. Why was it not debated before the budget, the passage of the budget?
Well, you see, I am not aware of this problem I wasn't aware about this until I was in at the airport, in the flight. When the pilot announced this, I was so surprised and so shocked that this was the issue. As somebody who is not informed about aviation issue, I'm a novice in that area. You know, I didn't understand what was the problem, the enormity of the problem, until the pilot announced it. And he saw, because in that flight, all the big men in the Southeast were almost in that flight that day. He said he was seizing the opportunity to tell the people that matter, that are inside this flight, that weekend, that if they don't do anything, and they start seeing anything happening tomorrow, it will not be their fault that they have not said this issue. And the pilot said again, he has already made this report repeatedly to the authorities, and nothing is coming. That's why they're now taking it to the passengers, because they said have reported to the authorities that should take over this issue, and they did not do so. So they are now reporting directly to the people that matter, who are using the so that they can take this matter further. Maybe if their own were not considered, our own is in response to that I decided to bring this motion, so that our people will be informed, and then we solve this problem once and for all.
Distinguished, thank you so very much for your concern about lives.
Thank you so
much. I have here with me another indefatigable senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I shall be talking with Distinguished Alero. Yes, he actually brought a motion on the killings happening in Sokoto as at present. Right here, he will be here to tell us more, and of course, and further pipelines ways possibly that when, if taken, will curtail these killings in Nigeria. Distinguished Senator Alero will be talking much on that. You will recall with me before he comes in, I always say, and I will keep saying, that Nigeria belongs to all of us. And so we must think of what we can do to make Nigeria a better place. Distinguished sir. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Okay. All right, sir. Okay. Yeah. You can put an input on that.
Already the Senate Committee on Aviation visited Enugu Airport. As he rightly said, it's a disaster waiting to happen. We saw numerous potholes on the runway, and even where airplanes are supposed to land, there is a village, and once the aircraft is landing, there won't be a good approach. And there are so many equipment that are lying at the Enugu Airport without being installed. There is a colossal waste of federal government resources. We saw more than 30 containers loaded with all kinds of equipment and materials meant for Enugu Airport, and they are not being installed. And the only excuse they gave us is that the contractors have not been paid. We have adequate provision in the budget to pay for the contractor. We provided 1 billion naira in the FGM budget, and also in the Adjournment budget of fund, we had another 1 billion naira. So the money there is more than enough to pay the contractor. All the ministry need to do is to release the money to the contractor so that they can move to the site, install this equipment to improve the safety and security of the airport. We are very concerned, and in fact, we even laid our report. It will be pitched maybe next week before we go on recess, so that all the issues that we saw there will be addressed.
Distinguished sir, you actually spoke today on some killing of 40 people in Sokoto State by armed bandits. Yes, sir, it's saddening to know that the killings have extended to Sokoto, which has always been a peaceful state. It appears this killing is going through revolution from one state to another. Distinguished, are you of the opinion that this killing is not becoming politicized?
No, there is nothing political about the killing. These are criminals, armed bandits that are operating all over Nigeria, whether it is Benue, Adamawa, Taraba, Kaduna, Zamfara, Sokoto. The story is the same. These are armed bandits. I don't want to call them herdsmen because they don't even own cattle. They move on motorcycles. This motorcycle is huge. You can hardly find it in Nigeria. 30 people can go on one motorbike, and each of the 3 people is well armed with AK-47 rifle, and they have a lot of ammunition with them. They move into villages and start killing indiscriminately. Man, woman, children, they don't spare anybody. So the intention is not even known, because some of the villages they are attacking are down to us. They are down and out. They are poor people, poverty-stricken people. They have nobody to protect them. They can hardly make ends meet. So what is the essence of attacking such people? Certainly, money is not the issue, but they are criminals who are hell-bent on destabilizing this country, and the only way out is to move with all the instruments of coercion we have to crush them. We have the Air Force. They have aircraft that can mount surveillance on the area. They can communicate to the ground troops to give them information about the whereabouts or the hideout of these criminals. The police have helicopters. These helicopters can be deployed, and they can mount aerial surveillance within the 3 states. And I think if this is done, it will certainly make these criminals to be dealt with, and they can be killed so that we can have a lasting peace. They are the same criminals that are operating in Zamfara. They are now operating in Sokoto. Who knows, tomorrow they can be in Kebbi, they can be in Niger, they can even be here in Abuja. So nobody is safe. Safety anywhere is safety everywhere. If you are insecure anywhere in Nigeria, you are insecure everywhere. So it is up to us to start and be alive to our responsibility. I know the armed forces are doing their best, but let them put more effort in order to deal with these criminals. Enough is enough.
Distinguished, thank you so very much. I know your dream every time is to see Nigeria being a better place for us all. Thank you so much. And my dream is to see that in a place, that Nigeria becomes a place, and of course with time, that we will once more experience peace. And the last best that we could say, Nigeria is the best place on earth. Well, until we come your way again, I remain Christy here with I saying, please, let's stay blessed. Thank you.